Rashford. Oh, fantastic!
Mr.
Bond. James Bond.
By and large, the relations between India and the United Kingdom today are working relations, they're friendly relations. India is strongly invested in the UK. Many Indian people go to the United Kingdom for their studies. They speak the same language, they speak on same terms, they play cricket, and they have similar cultural interests.
I think what makes the UK attractive is are its people, really, and our history and our inventiveness, our creativeness, our pig-headedness. You know, we did fight and die in 2 world wars for this country to be a self-governing, independent nation, and I think the people of Britain still have that spirit.
There's a lot of typical Britishness, what you know from the media, like people drinking tea, or a lot of merchandise on the Queen and all that. So that is what I experienced in London.
I think the way the UK is perceived internationally, its culture is very important to its position in the world. For example, if people don't think of British culture to be as noble or old or so deeply rooted in heritage and tradition as they do now, they might not take a British person too seriously in, let's say, in negotiating table in Brussels or in the UN. So I think British culture plays a very important role in Britain standing outside of the UK. I think British soft power is fundamentally rooted in Britain's legacy and history, and colonialism is an undeniable facet of it. Without colonialism, without the hegemonic, without I'm just going to rephrase that. Without colonialism, Britain wouldn't have been able to impose as much hegemonious rule across the world as it has in the last half a century or even last century. So I think it's what's made it so powerful, despite being an island of 60 million people. I think Brexit is going to fundamentally define the next generation's identity of being British, because the entire process of voting no in the referendum to remain in the UK was an expression of British culture and British sovereign identity, and I think that is going to be a strong part of how one perceives themselves to be British, especially the generations that's growing up and seeing all of this. Do I think British soft power is decreasing? Yes. Not because it's lesser in quantity, but because there are more competing and more influential nationalistic soft powers which are emerging now. There are aspirational countries like China and India who want to exert influence globally, and they're using soft power as a very potent tool as well to extend their interests. So if Britain doesn't kind of aggressively put its foot forward in the ways it extends its soft power, it's going to fall behind the race, just because there are others competing.
Ruining the culture in London and the UK is the EU, which is, as you can see, and look at London, in some areas you can't even see an English person. London is now majority foreigners, so it's obviously not very British, is it? So hopefully if we leave the EU, then it'll slow down the degradation of the UK, deterioration of the UK, and mean that it becomes a little bit more British again.
James Bond is such a good example of British soft power.